My wife's insane behavior and how it changed us. Hello everyone, I never thought I'd get to this point, to the point of reaching out to strangers on the internet for advice, but here we are. My wife and I have been married for 8 years, but have been together for 10 years. We met in college and were each other's first and only love. Because of it, I honestly felt we had a one-of-a-kind and wonderful connection, but it turns out that was just me. My wife started working at a new firm a while back. At first, she struggled to fit in since she's always been quiet, but with my support, she became friends with a group of gals, some of whom were single, divorced, or dating but not married. I was delighted she made friends at first, but then she began going out for drinks, partying, or whatever her buddies had planned. I grew worried about her shift in behavior and attempted to speak to her about it, but I didn't want to limit her in any way since it was affecting our connection in the bedroom. My wife wasn't the type to initiate intimacy, but with her constant going out, she was either too exhausted or wasn't in the mood. At some time, her firm hired a new boss, whom my wife and her friends admired. She started mentioning him in passing, but it came to the point where she was pointing out how he handled specific difficulties that didn't appear to be business-related. I questioned her about her relationship with this guy, and she dismissed my worries. She even asked whether I regretted not having more experience with women, to which I replied that she was all I ever needed. I swear I saw a flicker of grief in her eyes for a split second, but she swiftly changed the topic. When she mentioned open marriages as a method to spice up our marriage, I was taken aback since my wife was never this sort of person and, to be honest, was not that liberal. I first rejected and questioned if this had anything to do with the new boss, to which she denied but said that she felt missed out. But didn't want to lose me, so this was a safer alternative. I cautioned her that she was playing with fire, and she consented grudgingly and naively. So we made certain restrictions, mostly not to sleep with another person in our house for a year, and my wife goes on dates, has one-night stands, and then, as if I didn't see it coming, is in some type of connection with that manager. I, on the other hand, had a few dates but no one-night stands since it seemed weird to me, and my wife would ask if I was okay but wouldn't modify her behavior. At some time, I realized that the love I had for her, the pure magical innocence of marriage, had faded, and it was hurting me on the inside. I ended myself out on a date with an incredible lady who had moved here from South Korea. Conversation was easy. She had the wit of a lightning-quick white joke and a smile that made one forget oneself. This, of course, led to additional dates until we were intimate. I honestly had never experienced slight I had with this lady. I had no idea a woman could be so giving and make one feel so wanted. My wife thought it was charming at first, but as the months passed, she started to doubt my connection with my lover. I quickly pointed out that this was her idea and she, too, was in a relationship with the manager I was worried about. She was deafeningly quiet, as if she wanted to say something but couldn't. She started coming home early to surprise me with supper and have the house extra clean, so she started dropping me lunch in my workplace and began to instigate intimacy in the bedroom. Honestly, if it hadn't been for her opening up our marriage, which I'm also to fault for consenting to, I would have been ecstatic. I seldom gave in to her advances, and when I did, it was just to get it over with. Something in me died for my wife, and I could tell she felt it as well. I asked what had caused this shift in her, what was different, and the answer I received was that she wanted to show me that she loves me and is content with me. I didn't want to, but I broke out laughing when I inquired about her little circle of pals, her manager's boyfriend or her one night. She couldn't answer that day, instead crying herself to sleep. I get home the following day to find her waiting for me. She informed me she wants to end the marriage, that the entire thing was a terrible mistake, that she regrets everything, and that she wants us to be the focus of our relationship once again. I told her to be honest with me and tell me what sparked all of this in the first place, and wouldn't you know it, it was her group of friends who planted the idea due to their numerous exploits, and when her manager came around, he surprisingly supported that lifestyle and encouraged my wife to live free. According to reports, it began as an emotional affair, but only became after the marriage was annulled. While like that makes it better. She compared it to being intoxicated behind the wheel of a speeding automobile. It was exhilarating and intoxicating, but the cost of her choice has grown too much for her to bear. She realizes now that she never needed a comparison, that what we had was genuinely unique and precious, but she still feels as if she killed our marriage and any prospect of a life together. I told her I may never be able to view her as my wife again, which caused her to cry in front of me. I just held her in silence as she wept till she fell asleep. My arms were resting on the sofa. She has now quit her job and cut contact with all of her friends and her boss, and she has even told me that she is prepared to spend the rest of her life making amends to me and working her fingers to the bone in order to be considered a wife by me, but I haven't stopped communication with my lover. My partner, quite honestly, makes me feel like a man, as if I can take on the world in a way that my wife hasn't in a long time. The truth is that I'm at a loss for what to do in this case. If at all possible, I would want to reclaim the unique sensation, but my boyfriend practically rescued me when I was at my lowest. Please assist me. I forgot to mention that we have our first marital therapy appointment in a few hours. I'm not sure how that will go. Story 2. I got cheated on, but I don't want to leave her. So approximately 5 months ago, my girlfriend cheated on me. We've been dating for about 2 years and are both females. The female she cheated on was her closest friend at the time, and they were on a 3-night camping trip. My girlfriend informed me as soon as she returned. My girlfriend perceived it as merely physical infidelity, whereas the other girl saw it as both emotional and physical, since the other girl had long thought my girlfriend to be her person. Some information were provided when my partner initially informed me, but the rest were unclear and disguised. However, the gist was that she had cheated on me with this female. I was angered and wounded, but it didn't alter how I felt and didn't have a big impact on us. About 3 months after the initial telling, my girlfriend discloses to me that the other female had been riding her leg on one of the evenings. I wasn't aware of this before and assumed it had nothing to do with genuine and was simply personal and little touches, like a tease. Anyway, this meant that I felt a little awkward doing this to my girlfriend for a short while, but it didn't alter my sentiments or our relationship. Then, around 3 nights ago, I finally obtained every detail of the 2's 3 nights together. I ultimately put together the tale based on these elements, and there was more in closeness than I had anticipated. My girlfriend wouldn't kiss the other girl's lips or go inside her, but there were a few ways to get over those rules, and I still consider it as in cheating, as does my girlfriend. So much has changed for me since this final recounting. I'm not comfortable performing any of the things she did with the other girl with my girlfriend. This also implies that it's painful, not only in the act, but also in the afterwards, and I can't stop thinking about it. I also don't feel comfortable in my girlfriend's arms anymore, which concerns me terribly. Prior to this, my girlfriend had never given me cause to suspect she would do anything like this. She has been my #1 supporter, and she has made me so pleased with life and optimistic for the future. Our disagreements were always amicably addressed, and she spent every second with me, reassuring me. It's been the same since the cheating. She still treats me well, and we handle disagreements amicably, and she hasn't given me any cause to doubt her love for me. I feel she is the right person for me to marry. The only question is whether I'll be able to go over this. I adore her to this day. So I'd want to establish a period when I'll remain with my girlfriend and we'll sort things out, talk about it, and simply love each other. If my strong sentiments and safe feelings can return and my trust can be restored in this time frame, everything will be okay. But if this time period passes and I am unable to get beyond it, and I know that moving ahead would be very difficult, I will have to consider leaving the relationship. So, I suppose my question is, what length is reasonable for this time frame?